This is the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 273 of This is the G Podcast. Yes, yes, yes. Man, the heat is on, ain't it, Vi?
Hey, where I came from, the highest guy in the mid-70s. It was nice.
Yeah, I hear you. We're going to get to you. We got to ask Vi, because Vi has not been on the show because he's actually been in South Africa. So I got to get your insight on what you saw in South Africa, Vi. So, you know, this is the G Podcast, man. We are your weekly recap podcast. We do news, politics, pop culture, and that piping hot tea. Tanya B is on the road this week, but I got to say what's up. Vi is in the building back, y'all. Yes. His locks are flowing. You know, I pulled mine back. He's got his all exposed today. So what's up, Vi, man? Hey, Vi, but you know, tell us about South Africa, man.
Great country, man. It's an experience. It's an experience. Always, everywhere you went, people always say, welcome home, welcome home. They truly believe in customer service. They take it to a whole new level over there. I mean, they really try to make sure you are happy. Even when I complained about some of my food, the cook came out there, explained the process to me, and he went back and did what I asked him to do. I mean, they
Well, was that in Cape Town?
That was in Johannesburg.
Johannesburg. Okay.
Joburg. Even the waitresses are like that. I mean, just everybody was so nice and friendly. I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's just different.
Well, you know, tourism is important to countries. Right. You know, you're on another continent, bro. You know, and you're also in a scenario where, you know, as an American, man, you know, we've been covering in the news, you know, some of the negativity that comes from America, from a certain person in the White House about South Africa. So, you know, if they know you're American, they want to make sure when you get back and talk about their country, you're going to, you know, give some positive. So it makes sense, and I'm glad to hear they're doing that. Go ahead. All
depending on you talking to, I was talking to one gentleman. He said, dude, you're from America? I said, yeah, I would love to come to America. I'd take any time to come to America. I was like, I don't know about all that, brother. He said, what? I just kind of crazy over here, too. Really? I said, yes. It's crazy over here right now. He said, it's crazy over here, too. I said, okay. But,
What else, man? I mean, okay, you said you had great customer service.
Went to the safari. We got to see all the animals. The animals, you know, it's like a live zoo when you are over there in, I forgot the name of the city. They just walking around, monkeys, baboons. Walking around like they part, like we see cats and dogs. The highest baboons and monkeys just walking around.
Yeah.
And like this guy was fishing, right? The lady said, he paying the fish, but you see that baboon? He's waiting to catch a fish. Cause that baboon, that fish. I said, what in the world? And like the lady said, if you got a purse, watch the purse go. Baboons, they like to take your purse because they know you got stuff you're gonna give to them. So don't be trying to feed them. And it was interesting. Didn't know they had penguins over there. That was shocking to them. They got African penguins, so they took it to see the African penguins. That was shocking. Seal.
Were they in a controlled environment or just walking around?
No, they was in a controlled environment because because I think you're not allowed to hunt them. You can't eat them no more. Because I looked that up. You can't eat them and you're not allowed to hunt penguins anymore. So they more like a controlled environment. And
yeah, well, you know, and let me ask you, because one of the other things when you left, they were having, because it's winter.
Yeah, it's winter over there.
This time of the year, it's winter right now in South Africa as we tape. So what was the climate like for you when you were there?
During the day, it was nice. Early in the morning, it's very cold. And I think the highest it got me was like the mid-70s. It was real nice. That's nice. We went to the safari. Got us like 4 o'clock in the morning, go to the safari. I haven't been this close. I haven't been this close since I left the Army. We were riding in the truck. I said, oh my God, this shit is freezing. But we saw everything except for we didn't get there. They saw the lion, but by the time we got there, they had already gone. So we saw the elephants, the antelopes, the baboons, the leopards. You know, we saw all the big five. The giraffes, and they were telling me about the elephants because the elephants are destroying it. Because they said they don't know what to do with the elephant because they only should have like 10,000, but they got like 20,000. And the elephant just
really?
destroying the trees. Cause we're looking at them. They're literally pulling the trees down to eat the leaves and eat the barks off the trees. So they said they got to do something about the elephant because the elephant is destroying the land for for the rest of the animals.
Don't say that too loud because Don Jr. and Eric will be over there with elephant guns.
Right.
You know what I'm saying. I'll leave it at that.
Other than that, it was wonderful. And then the waterfalls they got over there, it was beautiful seeing the waterfall. I went to the top of the mountain. Surprised myself on the steps, but I made it. And they were saying how the mountain was. To my people died and go. I said, well, if you tell me one person died, that's nothing to make me say, well, I ain't got to try that. So, hey.
That's what I'm saying. All right, fine. Congrats, man. Good stuff. Welcome back, man. Locks are flowing, all that good stuff. Welcome back, guy. Welcome
African
back.
juice.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. Hey, what's up? Got to say, man, Hitman Howie's in the building. Hitman.
Hey, what's happening, man? Appreciate the invitation.
Surrounded by books. So, Hitman, how was your week, man?
It was exciting in the sense that last weekend I celebrated a birthday with my sister-in-law who has moved here from Montgomery. And so I had a couple in-laws in town, which is always nice to have them in town. Got to meet the boyfriends and stuff like that. And then just working this week, cut a little grass, that kind of stuff. So the week is good. Weekend news was exciting. We got a lot of stuff going on with our great leader of our country and bomb droppings and all that kind of stuff going on. So, it was a good week.
Bomb droppings and crap droppings and all that stuff. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was an excellent week, though.
Good to see you, Howie. And man, it was crazy this week, man. I know you were out in the yard. It was like 100 degrees this week.
Yeah.
By you were in South Africa at 74. And here, we got a record. I don't think it was a record high. We hit 100 before this early, but still, glad that that's kind of subsided. Man, hopefully next week is not as bad.
He was mind blowing about the play. I said, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
You want to go back?
Oh. Shit. 74? I'll take it.
Right.
I'll take it.
That's the truth.
All right, so hey, here's what we'll do. Howie, you mentioned we got a lot to talk about this week. I'm glad you settling in. I'm sure you got some comments as well. Let's go ahead and do news with Syracuse Mike, and we'll come back on the other side. Here we go.
News team, assemble! It's time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
The president this weekend, and on Sunday, the Pentagon held a briefing on the overnight strike against Iranian nuclear facilities. Air Force General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said early assessments indicate the mission achieved its objective, destroying 3 nuclear sites in Iran. He described the operation as both complex and high risk.
This was the largest B-2 operational strike in U.S. history and the second longest B-2 mission ever flown, exceeded only by those in the days following 9/11.
A top United Nations official called for a diplomatic resolution to the Iran-Israel crisis during an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council Sunday. Leaders across the Middle East, along with several European nations, echoed the appeal. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth warned that any retaliation by Iran against the United States would be met with a strong response.
Far greater than what was witnessed.
There's a huge concern that Iran will strike back at the U.S. The question, when, where, and how? A number of Democrats in Congress have come forward saying the president did not have the authority to do what he did, and lawmakers on the Hill should have been consulted. President Trump announced Monday that a ceasefire between Israel and Iran would take effect following nearly 2 weeks of escalating warfare. In a post on Truth Social, Mr. Trump took credit for brokering the truce, calling it a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East. Neither Iran or Israel immediately confirmed the deal, and just hours before the announcement, Israel struck targets near Tehran, while Iran launched a retaliatory missile strike on a U.S. base in Qatar. After giving advance notice, the U.S. had entered the conflict Saturday with airstrikes on key Iranian nuclear sites. The president now says Iran's limited response shows it's gotten it out of their system. The fragile ceasefire between Israel and Iran appeared to be holding Tuesday evening after a tense day marked by a personal call from President Trump to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, urging restraint. Both nations accused each other of initially violating the truce. President Trump was not happy about it.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Israel claimed Iran fired 2 ballistic missiles hours after the ceasefire was announced, but the president felt their response was an overreaction. The trial of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs has reached a turning point with both sides resting their cases. Combs faces charges of sex trafficking, assault, and conspiracy. Prosecutors alleged he led a criminal enterprise marked by abuse and coercion, while the defense claimed he's the target of a smear campaign. Friday was a big day for U.S. Supreme Court rulings. Among the rulings, the nation's highest court voted 6-3 along ideological lines to curb the power of lower federal court judges to issue universal injunctions. These are nationwide orders blocking federal policies. The decision came in a case tied to the Trump administration and birthright citizenship. The ruling did not address the actual birthright issue. The Supreme Court also in a 6-3 decision said public schools must allow parents to opt their children out of lessons that conflict with their religious beliefs, raising questions about curriculum on topics like evolution and LGBTQ issues. In a separate ruling, the justices upheld part of the Affordable Care Act, keeping preventative care screenings free for millions of Americans. Also, the court announced it will revisit Louisiana's congressional redistricting plan next term. At issue is a newly drawn black majority district challenged by a group of white voters who claimed it's unconstitutional racial gerrymandering.
Yeah, there's a lot this week. Howie, I'm glad you mentioned it. And quick takeaways, Howie, from the news clips. Let's start with the bombings, the Iran. The reason I get mixed up because it's all reminding me of Iraq. But go ahead.
Well, I think they're all cousins, first of all, all family members over in that Middle East. But the issue is, for me, I don't think they know what happened. I don't think they came out saying everything was obliterated, how successful it was. Ultimately, I don't think it was successful, nor do they know how successful it was. Their own intelligence is saying they did little or minor to little damage to to Iran's ability to create atomic bombs. First, that's the first thing. Secondly, what happened to all the uranium that was supposedly underground? So I think there's a leak in the administration. Iran knew they were coming. They moved all the uranium out so they wouldn't destroy it. And it was just poor planning on our part. And of course, the administration is going to come out and say how great it is. And finally, those bombs, first time they've been used, I understand they only supposed to go about 200 feet into the ground, and that Iran had their systems built about 300 feet into the ground. Therefore, the damage was limited, if any. So I think it was just a way for the president to try to win a Nobel Peace Prize by negotiating the ceasefire. And he's just trying to be Obama-esque and win the Nobel Peace Prize. It's a joke, and I think we're being laughed at across the country, across the world for that matter.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you, because Vi is our military person on the panel. And Vi, when you look at the scenario, and you spent time in Iraq, am I correct?
Right, Iraq, yeah.
Iraq. But you were there,
right?
Right. So what are your thoughts, man? I mean, lean on up and give us your thoughts when you heard about, because the last podcast we did, of course, we were talking about the 30-day, making a decision within 30. And of course, as soon as we send the podcast out, boom. Okay. So if you got the podcast last week and notice we didn't talk about this, is because like within hours of us sending out the podcast, of course, they bombed the nuclear sites. But go ahead, Bob.
No, I think the intelligence and the army, what they're doing, I don't think Trump talked to anybody. He just said do it. He did not. I don't think he talked to the intelligence. Don't think he talked to the higher head of the military. I think he just made a decision to do it. Because that's why the intelligence people were saying we really didn't do anything. Because if he had sought advice from the people he's supposed to get advice from, they would have told him no. That the uranium you talking about, how it was already moved. It was already moved. So we didn't do anything. Right. Yeah, we destroyed a facility that they were prepared to lose. So no, we didn't do any damage. Trump does what he always do. He tell you what he did. He lies about it. Then he tell us the media is lying, and the media really can't prove that he's lying. Like how he basically, like I said, I never thought that he was trying to do that to get on the prize, but he's not gonna get it. Cause how you think you're gonna get something when you literally almost started a war?
Well, it was out there, and then it's been pulled back.
Oh, you almost started it.
It was rescinded.
Even if you started a ceasefire, you started it. I'm not going to give you a war for something you started and ended. No. I don't. Like I said, he is really not talking to the higher in the Pentagon. He didn't even tell the Secretary of Defense he was going to do it. He didn't even get to go to the meeting.
Yeah.
So no.
Well, Chelsea Gabbard came out, and notice you have not heard a word from Chelsea Gabbard since this whole started, because he asked, of course, on the concourse when they asked him, hey, what do you think about the intelligence from Chelsea Gabbard? And he came out and clearly said, oh, she's wrong.
Exactly.
Without him even knowing. So, my whole thing, I agree with both of you. But it reminds me of Iraq to the point, not to this extent, because, I think Bush and of course, back then, we're talking, 20 years? Is it about 20 years ago? 20 plus years,
right.
The ability to communicate the way Trump communicates on Truth Social did not exist for presidents. It really didn't start maybe with Obama is when, you had presidents putting out their own messages on social media. So I think, Trump's going to try to gaslight you. He's going to lie. That my whole thing, I know there are people who are, hey, we got to protect the U.S., but I am gun shy since Bush. And a lot of you are gun shy. Some of my older family members are gun shy back to Vietnam.
Right.
They don't trust the government to go to war for anything.
For money.
So, for money. So bottom line is when you look at the scenario, if you had a different leader in place, maybe I would trust him. But as long as he's in place, I don't trust that dude for anything. I just want this term to be over.
Especially when he think he know more than the people who actually are doing the job.
Yeah. Right. Because you're gonna, you think it's on the right path. You could jump in, Howie. Looks like you got something to add in. But I'll say this, and I'll go to you. When you think it's right, here comes the rub with him. There's always something. There's just like the Truth Social, not the Truth Social, but the Trump phone. Wow. Okay. Here's a phone.
Made in America.
No. And then the truth comes out that it's made in China. You can't trust it.
Everybody knows you cannot make a cell phone in America and keep it at $500.
So there are people who are just, we were having the conversation about immigration, which I do want to get to right now, the Supreme Court ruling. When you talk about immigration coming from this guy and his administration, it's just, you can't trust the good intentions.
You can't.
You just, you want things to go right, but something comes. So go ahead, Howie.
No, I'm just saying. What I was really laughing about is you just waiting for this to be over, and we're not even a year into this thing already. Man.
Hey, I'm like the kid in the backseat. Are we there yet?
Exactly. It's like,
are we there yet?
Louise, man, all the stuff that's going on. Yeah, I'm just really over this guy and the lies he tells. That's what I think I just wanted to say. And again, if he's not receiving something out of it, the whole U.S. steel and the Japan U.S. steel been sold to Japan, where he's getting a percentage of it until he's out of office. And then after he's out of office, the money goes to the U.S. government. If he's not getting something, if he's not grifting out of this thing, it's not happening. I think that's the same thing that's happening. Anything that he's negotiating, if Canada's not giving him anything, all of a sudden he's not talking to Canada anymore about tariffs anymore.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. It's like, okay, we're all good, everything's cool, but we all of a sudden something's wrong. So I agree with you, Howie. this probably was something personal, something that he didn't get, that he can't expose, because in most situations when things go bad with a country, we know, we understand, and we're briefed on it either through the media or, you know, at the White House. We don't, do we know why we fell out with Canada? Is there any clarity on that?
Well, supposedly the 2% tariffs that we taxed on computer programs that are being used by between the two countries. Canada put a tax on U.S. 2% tax on IT programming used coming from the United States. But it's like no, man, we're just retaliating to what you did to us. You know, it's like Vice said, he started it, and then when someone else does something back to him, he gets upset about it. Yeah,
you just can't trust him. I mean, what's the song Public Enemy? Can't trust it. Just play, you know, they just need Flavor Flav.
I never believed it.
Flavor needs to do the, be on one of the news networks. Can't trust it.
I never believed in the immigration policy in the beginning, but when he went over and brought the white Africans from South Africa and talking about they immigrants, I'm going,
oh.
When he did that, ain't nothing else you can say about immigration that I can listen to.
Yeah, right. Because you're choosing who comes in. Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that, you know, we had the Supreme Court ruling, which really didn't deal with immigration. It dealt with how the lower courts deal with the president. And I read up on, of course, on LinkedIn, Leah Ward Sears had a good summary on the Supreme Court ruling. She said that the court limited lower federal courts' use of nationwide injunctions, ruling that judges likely overstep authority when blocking federal policies for the entire country. The constitutionality of birthright citizenship was not addressed and will return to the lower courts. But let me say this, and I want to go to you, Howie, then I'll go to Vi, because Vi's still, you know, Vi's still getting back into the U.S. mode, so I'm gonna give him a little bit of time. But here's the whole thing: when something like this goes down, candidly, it works for both parties. The way I look at it, because if you think about the situation with Trump, that was held up by a lower court that could have actually gotten him in further hot water down in Mar-a-Lago. You remember that with the judge. That could have held that judge at bay. So I think it works both ways. You know, he's in power right now. He's going to keep the courts at bay. But when the Democrats get in power, they have the ability to do the same thing. Do you see that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But when that happens, when the Democrats are in power, you hear a whole lot of yelling from the Republicans saying, this is wrong, this is unconstitutional. That's been consistent over the last 20 years. But I agree. The lower courts, what this does is jams up the process. The process is the lower courts say, hey, you can't do this, so we're going to take it to the Supreme Court. And what the Supreme Court has done in their lazy way is just maybe held up or kicked it down the road. It's going to return to the courts because the lower courts are going to say you can't stop, in this case, birthright citizenship, or you can't stop legalizing marijuana or whatever it is. And it's going to have to return to be adjudicated at the higher court, at the Supreme Court. It just slows it down a little bit.
And what you're going to do is put the onus of responsibility on the individual. So exactly. and who has the money to do, you know, individually sue with the potential to go to the Supreme Court. There are very few individuals who have that ability, especially if you're an immigrant. You're not going to be able to sue. You know, even if you work, you might be able to work with, I know ACLU's getting involved, CASA, which was actually involved in this particular thing with immigration. But bottom line is, you're absolutely right. It slows it down so that they can, you know, push out these executive orders. But again, it's going to work both ways, you know.
That's right.
And I hope, like you said, you know, you gotta grow balls to do this kind of stuff. If you get in office, you can't acquiesce to opinion, because they don't. You know, and that's, and I say they, you know, I mean, based on, you know, how I see things, because I just don't think, I mean, who really plays in our best interest? I think we're going to have to look at that. Who's playing in our, truly in our best interest, and who's not just a grifter. And candidly, I just see too many grifts going on. So it's hard for me to give these guys any kind of credit. It's hard for me to pass out kudos. It's hard for me to celebrate anything because there's so much of a grift going on. Vi, you got something?
I agree with you. I agree with you and Howard both, but I'm like you as for the grifting going on. Because if I don't see anything helping the people like me, or the lower people, or the poor people, then I really don't see you doing anything. If you're not helping the majority of the world and only the top 10%, I really don't want to listen to either one of y'all.
Yeah.
So
because this is truly about the top.
The top.
Right.
You know, the 1%. I mean, this is truly, you know, but I'm going to leave it at that because, you know, a lot of it, again, it's just interesting for me to watch people vote against their best interest every time. I don't think they realize they're doing it. They're just doing it. Some of them do. Especially the ones who are getting deported or seeing family members getting deported.
No, I think they thought they weren't going to be part of the deportation. They believed the myth that he was only going to deport criminals. No, dude. All of y'all.
Yeah.
All of y'all.
Let me say, I mean, you know, and you know, black folks, it's just like this. I'm going to say this, and I'd love your thoughts. I was watching, you know, CNN Saturday morning, and they were talking about, because of course, 47 always comes out with misinformation. And he was saying, well, you know, these rights were granted to slaves. I'm like, look, dude, first of all, we're not immigrants. You know what I'm saying? We didn't immigrate
over here.
We were kidnapped.
Forced over here.
You know, this was about a Chinese immigrant. The 14th Amendment, you know, when I think we're talking about the 14th, you know, birthright citizenship. It really, and they brought in the great grandson of the Chinese immigrant that was involved in the case, the Supreme Court case. And it's just blatant when you hear the president of the United States come out and say, oh, this was done for slaves, for children of slaves. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Slaves were not immigrants.
That's right. It just clearly points to him having no idea what history has or what history is saying.
Don't know history.
Not intelligent at
all.
all.
He don't know history.
I get you know, making a slave, you know, making us legal, you know, giving us rights, but we were not immigrants. And maybe anybody want to address, anybody want to push back on that?
Yeah. That's right.
I just don't think getting kidnapped and thrown on a boat.
Push come to shove, dude. Y'all weren't born over here neither, so y'all just came here. What's the problem?
That's right. That is exactly right.
Unless you're an Indian, you was not born on America.
Native American.
You was not born on America. You was not born on this soil. If we want to go that deep.
You're an immigrant too, because his family. I mean, his father is from Germany.
His wife. What is his wife?
Well, his grandfather. What? So you know, come on, y'all.
What is his wife?
Right, they're all immigrants.
So damn, dude, stop.
But this is truly, and I want to move on to the other thing the Supreme Court is talking about. But I do want to end this. If you guys have something to say, but this is truly, and you said it, this is about immigrating or immigration for the people you want here.
Exactly.
You know, not the you know, when you see you know, people from Mexico being sent back, Haiti, you're seeing black and brown people being shipped back. You're not seeing you know, the white European.
No Swedes, no Russians, no Europeans.
Nope.
only black
just
and brown.
To counter that, there has been
about race. Well, you know, look at the people who. I mean, you just bought over some South Africans.
Right.
One who apparently killed his wife. You know, so dude. I mean, you can see who gets in and who's welcome, and who's not. You know, you've already called them. You know, Africa and Haiti and the black countries and you know, Africa is a continent, a shithole continent or nation. You know, so what are we supposed to believe? Go ahead, Howie.
Well, no, I was going to say it has been a couple. It was a Canadian and a couple other people that they have got swept up in this, but the numbers, you're correct. The numbers pan out that it's mostly black and brown people that are being shipped back. Real quick, he negotiated another peace deal over in some African country. I forget the name of it. I think he's really pushing for that Nobel Peace Prize. That will not happen.
Dude.
That being said, he's trying to be the gatekeeper of who comes in and out of this country.
Well, you know what that is, and you know what that is, right? That's going to be about money.
Yes, exactly. He wants to. Yeah, the grifting part. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You can finish.
No, I'm just saying he's been a grifter. He's talking about negotiating something in this African country where he can get in for mineral rights, and of course he'll get a part of it. But yet he's negotiated the whole peace deal. It's sad how the emolument clause is not being adhered to at all when it comes to the president of the United States.
Yep. It's I'm not gonna say because we knew.
Yes.
Most of us could go back to the first term and say this is what's going to happen,
dude.
And it, we knew it was going to happen. So I'm just like, are we there yet? I'm in the back seat. I'm in the back. I'm just going to sit in the back seat. Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Said,
4 years up yet? Are we there?
For day one, no one in that family since the day they arrived in this country has done anything for America besides themselves.
That's right.
You can't run a country that way. You run a government to take care of the people. A business take care of themselves. So if you go, that's how you go. So you can run a government like a business, which is he doing right now?
You can't,
because he's not trying to take care of the people. He's just trying to take care of him.
Right.
He's just trying to take care of the people, not the people who need it, but the people who put money in the Congress and the president's pocket. That's who he's trying to take care of, and we're the one that's suffering from it.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. Hey, y'all, one thing, and Mike didn't cover this in news, and I do want to cover it before we go to tea. I want to play something, and I live near this county. I live in this county that this happened in, but I want to go ahead and play this. Here we go.
People have been buzzing in our listening area after reports of a mysterious fireball streaking across the sky. Residents all around the state described bright lights, loud booms, and shaking houses. In Henry County, officials confirmed a meteorite may have pierced a roof on a home. Sightings stretched across Georgia into the Carolinas and Tennessee. The timing coincides with predicted meteor showers for this week. Authorities are still working to confirm exactly what fell from the sky.
Now, this is interesting. The house next to me, like 2 houses down, they're getting their roof fixed. So I'm just wondering. I was like, yes. So I'm just wondering because they were. It's the same county, right? The other thing is my nephew felt it when he and they're only like 2 miles away, so they felt the impact. But it's just for me, I've seen Deep Impact and Armageddon. So, so I'm like, when a chunk of it breaks off, where's the bigger one? So it was just interesting this week. Vi, what are your thoughts?
Why is this so hard to approve or disprove?
Yeah.
You know where it landed.
Well, they proved it. They proved it is the meteor.
I'm saying they know where it landed. We know what house it hit. Yeah. So even in Atlanta, they showed a picture of the ball of fire coming. A ball of fire coming from the sky. I said, "Oh my God!"
Yeah. At the time when Mike did the story, they hadn't confirmed it.
It's definitely confirmed.
They had You're right, Vi. The video, the folks in the house, because they were talking about the value of the meteor, and the folks who own the meteor in their house, it's like worth millions. No, not millions, thousands of dollars.
So that's the blessed.
The science community wants it, so they'll pay for it.
Blessing in disguise. Now I'm rich because my house got.
Well, at least it's gonna fix the roof.
The roof. Yeah, I'm not sure you know. There's no way I would stay in our house after meteor hit it.
You wouldn't stay there?
Oh,
because you don't know what kind of
radiation or whatever.
Radiation is. Dude.
Plus, you're gonna give me millions. I go buy a house somewhere else.
They need to
I'm not staying there.
Look, somebody's gonna buy me a new house on another lot.
Hell, I might be so terrified I gotta leave the state of Georgia.
I hear you. Does your homeowner's insurance cover?
The state of Georgia has been marked.
Have media coverage?
I'm sure, well, I don't know. Is that considered like an act of God? Because,
I don't know, dude.
it's
I don't know. I
somebody.
have to look that up. That's interesting.
I'm not even.
That is
Oh,
interesting.
my God,
Do we,
man. I'm just
another
here to tell
question
you.
is, another question is, do we know is a meteor or was it some atmospheric junk that was falling out of the
No,
sky?
it was
Okay.
it was confirmed as a meteor. And
Okay.
I'm just saying, for me, if I live next door, even I'm like you, I'm not gonna move out of the state, but come on. No, come on, man.
No,
Come on, bro.
the state of Georgia has been marked. Meteor target.
Notice it's a red state, though. It is
I
in New
am
York.
joking about leaving the state of Georgia, but I would be nowhere near that neighborhood.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
If I got a
That is
choice,
interesting.
I wonder what the HOA is gonna say.
Right.
I don't care what HOA got to say.
But anyway, I just thought that was
That
interesting.
was.
All right, y'all. Hey, let's take a quick break. We'll come back with T. Here we go. All right. All right, y'all, we're back, and let's go ahead and do it.
Now then, children, it's time for tea.
It's tea time, y'all. Sipping the tea with Tanya B.
Tanya B is out, but let's go ahead. We lost a big name in entertainment, Walter Scotty Scott of the Whispers. Let's go ahead, Mike. Here we go.
R&B has lost a legend. Walter Scott, co-founder of the iconic group The Whispers, has died at the age of 81. Scott and his twin brother Wallace formed the group in the early 1960s. And after years of struggle, they rose to fame with hits like And the Beat Goes On and Rock Steady. The Whispers became known for their smooth harmonies and soulful slow jams. Walter Scott was battling cancer, according to a family member.
Yeah, rest in power, Walter Scotty Scott. Y'all remember, definitely, And the Beat Goes On. Big record for y'all. Big record for you.
As the beat goes on.
And that album, that album was a huge comeback album for them, which that album led to another hit with Rocksteady and so on and so forth. So definitely he'll be missed, man. But we're just at that age, man, where we're starting to lose a lot of talent we grew up on. There's still a few left, but it's amazing, man. We lost Michael, Prince is gone, Marvin's gone,
Rick James.
And you look at
Rick James.
Rick James, Rick James, and so much talent on the R&B side is gone.
Right.
So it really is on the shoulders of a new generation to push us forward. So rest in power, Walter Scott of the Whispers. And hey, the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial has ended, and of course, they're gonna make some noise at the end. so the defense definitely stepped it up, but prosecutors declared it's time to convict Diddy, accusing him of running a criminal enterprise through power, violence, and fear. The defense countered by attacking accusers Cassie and Jane Doe and warning of government overreach into private relationships. The jury, as we tape on Saturday, will be deliberating beginning on Monday. Hey, I want to get your thoughts, and I'll start with you, Vi. You leaned in. What are your thoughts, man? First, I'll start with you.
When they first got him, I was 100% convinced they were going to win this trial, but I don't know anymore. I don't see it.
You think Diddy? You 100% the Diddy or the prosecution?
I was 100% thought the prosecution had the case, but after seeing stuff leaked out about, I'm just not convinced they provided a good case.
Yeah.
I just showed that to me
agree.
more like it was a smear campaign, showed he was a bad person. Okay, so what did he really? I don't know RICO law, but what did he really do that was so illegal?
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. And go ahead, Howie. I've got my thoughts. Go ahead.
Oh no, I agree with Vi. 2 weeks ago, I thought they had Diddy dead to rights. I thought they were going to connect the moral, his poor moral attitude to the RICO side of it, but I think they failed to make the connection. The RICO side and the conspiracy side. I don't think I heard anything about that and what he was doing. I guess it was sex trafficking, which is the RICO, but you know, I didn't see the connection. So I think it's a toss up for me at this point.
Yeah, I think he's going to get away with it. I think I was watching, and this will be interesting. The Cosby, one of Cosby's attorneys was on CNN, and she said that, you know, they didn't show the term as mens rea. You know, there's no proof. You know, you're saying things, but you're not relating it to the crime or to the crimes you're trying to basically get him on, prosecute him on. The other thing is the fact that they changed they changed the things that they were charging him with. They dropped so much before the end. You know, and that was, I think you and I, we were talking, Howie, when you were on the show before. My whole thing is, wait a minute, when are we going to get the evidence? When are we going to get the true evidence to put the nail in the coffin? And a lot of people don't feel like it really came. The other thing, because we know he's a bad guy, but on the other hand, I mean, they're gonna tie this to his relation to, how do you say it, his lifestyle. You're not gonna sit back and basically say, hey, one individual can do certain things and another individual can't. We all know that in Hollywood and celebrity life, people live certain lifestyles. So he lived the lifestyle. And the people, a lot of the folks who were stepping forward were getting paid. And you know, again, I'm not here to victim blame, but okay, what was voluntary and what was involuntary? And I think when the jury goes to deliberation, I think that's going to be a big deal. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
Most of the people who said they were afraid of him, he paid them. And he paid them well. Yeah. He paid them well. He paid them well. Yeah. And if you're so afraid, why did you keep coming back year after year?
Yeah.
You keep coming back year after year.
I think that's what the jury might be asking too.
I'm going, hey.
Yeah.
But we have to be a little bit careful with that. I think we talked about this once before. You know, you have to be a little bit careful with, like you say, victim blaming. Yeah. You know, some people are what is it? I can't think of the word I'm looking for right now. But sometimes they just can't get out because they are too afraid. So you have to be a little bit careful with that when it comes to.
It's like Stockholm syndrome.
The Stockholm syndrome, exactly. That's the word I'm looking for.
You know, when you're in a situation where you've been basically brainwashed into believing you're doing the right thing.
Hey,
go ahead,
exactly. I agree with you with that, but where was the crime?
Yeah. Well, the crime is supposedly paying prostitutes multiple times across state lines. And again, that's where the term mens rea came up with. Cosby's attorney was saying, okay, you got to prove the crime. You got to show a crime.
Is that the strongest you got? He can get out with time served. He's been in jail for almost a year. How much time? How much time you going to serve for prostitution?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to defend Puffy.
I'm not defending Puffy. I'm just saying that.
Oh no! I hear what you're saying, but I don't think you are. But I think we're on the same page, man. Because you know, if you're going to convict somebody, you better come with it. You know, that regardless of whether I like them or not, whether or not they're a good person or not, you got to bring it. You can't just assume that the jurors are going to go with you because he's a bad guy.
Exactly.
Okay? That's a ton of let's go after a lot of these folks.
I guess I can say I'm more disappointed in the government case. For you to arrest this man,
I agree.
Deny him bail. I thought y'all had a slam dunk case, and it's not slam dunk. That's all I'm saying. It's just not slam dunk. And how much? And if you do convict him, how much time you can convict him for the such little evidence y'all had?
Yeah. So what's your prediction? Make a prediction, because as this podcast, we're going to drop the podcast, by Sunday evening. What's your prediction going forward? What do you think what's going to be the verdict?
Me?
Yeah, you. Mm-hmm.
I think since the government bring a case, the 99.9, 99.7 conviction rate. I wouldn't be surprised if he did convict it, but I think they still going to convict him.
Okay. You say yes, it's going to be a conviction.
So.
Okay. What about you, Howie?
I think they're going to convict him of something.
Right.
The prosecutors in a government case usually throw enough up against the wall and hope something sticks. So something will stick, but it won't be as impactful as we thought it was, a la the Fannie Willis debacle here in the metro area.
Lord.
Something's gonna hit, but you get time served, you get probation, and you got to go pick up trash for 2 days, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going to be convicted on the big charge. I don't think. Right. I think he's going to get. I don't say get off, but I think he's going to get away. I don't think he's going to get away with that. I think he will get away with it. I mean, quite frankly, I think I agree with you, Vi. I think he's going to get time served on the lesser, and he's going to walk.
Yeah.
I don't see him spending time. I mean, personally, my opinion, I don't think he's going to spend more time in jail. I think he's going to walk out of that courtroom when the verdict's read, time served, and he'll move on with his life. Whether or not the world and America will embrace him going forward is going to be the question more than anything. How much damage has been done to his career and his reputation? I think that's the big thing now. But I think he's going to be not guilty on the majority of it.
I think it's I
agree.
I think his career as a music mogul is over.
Okay. And that's very possible, depending.
Yeah. But he's going to write a tell-all book. That's all. He'll make his money in a tell-all book.
Or do a movie.
Or do a movie.
He can move to South Africa and live as a billionaire.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
If he should, he's got places everywhere, all across he's got places all across the world. Look at what's the guy, Def Jam.
I just left South Africa. $1 in South Africa
Simmons.
was $18.
Yeah. Simmons.
Right?
Simmons.
Simmons. And Russell Simmons ain't never coming back because he know he ain't going to trial.
Russell, hey, you know what? Russell is watching this closely right now. He's watching closely. But it's a different situation. I mean, well, we'll see. But I don't think. I mean, again, I just want to, Vi, you said convicted on lesser charges, and he's going to walk based on time served. Okay. Howie, you said he's going to feel the same?
Basically the same rights. Something lesser, yes.
Do some time?
No, I don't think he'll do any time.
And I think he's not guilty on most of the charges, and probably guilty for paying a prostitute. And it'll be time served and move forward.
And that's a failure for the government that happened.
I agree.
Well, I think it's just like we watch, and you mentioned the Fannie Willis situation. If you can't go after these guys on lyrics, you gotta have something firm. You gotta have witnesses who can basically speak to a crime. Right. And that's why when I listened to the Cosby lawyer on CNN, before we taped, it made sense to me. It all came together because that's what we were saying all along. And I think some folks are saying, well, it's coming. It's coming.
And I said the same thing.
And I said, oh, wait a minute. It's over?
Time to be. I said the same thing. I said, it's coming. It's coming.
Then that was my belief as well.
Then they said over. I said, it's over? They're done?
Because the defense knows. The defense didn't. I mean, they're not going to put Puffy on the stand.
They called no witnesses.
They don't have to.
Y'all called on the witness that needed. Y'all call them about it.
So there you go. All right. Hey, I gotta say congrats, man, to CBS Soap, and I've been talking about because it's actually taped here. Beyond the Gates I got to say kudos to them, man. The Black CBS soap was listed as one of Entertainment Weekly's top shows so far of 2025, which honestly, they don't put soaps on this list. So I'm really impressed with the fact. I mean, so far this year, I think Abbott Elementary was another show. The new show Matlock
yes.
is
interesting.
Matlock made it. The new Matlock is on there. But I am impressed at the fact that a soap made Entertainment Weekly's best of the year 2025 so far. So kudos to, and they do a great job. I record that. I watch it on Paramount. I'm hooked. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. I have, again, we talked about the fact that hell, I didn't watch the soap since high school, since elementary school. But I mean, they got me. I'm gonna roll till the wheels fall off. So there you go. Appreciate it. Martin's a nut, but go ahead.
Have you watched the Ironheart on Disney yet?
I did. I love Ironheart.
I did too.
I watched the first 2 episodes. I know there's one more episode I got to watch, and then they're going to do 3 and 3. So they're releasing, another 3 in July. But it is well done. Ryan Coogler is executive producer on that. The young lady who actually was in Wakanda Forever, her role is done in the series that it's about her. Ironheart.
It's good. I enjoyed it.
And Ramos is in it. Anthony Ramos is in it. It's a good show. You like it?
I really did.
Right. Did you
Where's
go to
it streaming?
It's streaming on Disney.
Disney, okay.
It's good. It's one of the honestly, between that and there was one other show I watched. Who's the Scarlet Witch? I watched.
She's Marvel. I know you're talking about though.
Yeah, on Marvel.
That show was.
That was good. I liked it. That was one of that. I thought that's the only. I say that to say, I rarely watch Disney.
It's a good story. It's a good story.
It's a good story. It's a great story.
I need more action.
Yeah. Here we go.
That's why I said it's a great story. Great story. But I need more.
Yeah, it was on Disney. I haven't watched a lot of Disney stuff, but I'm happy to see Ironheart do what it did. Yeah. All right, y'all. Hey, I appreciate it. Hey, let's go ahead real quick. One of the things I didn't get a chance to get into in the news, so we've done politics, so we're not going to do a political roundtable. But I do want to talk about the NBA, the championship and the finals. And Howie, I know you're deep into the NBA. We text a lot. Vi doesn't jump in on our NBA text, but as soon as we start talking NFL, the brother is all in there. But NBA, what do you think about the finals, Oklahoma City and Indiana? And what do you think about the NBA draft? Let's start with the finals first. What are your thoughts?
Well, the finals were better better than I thought they would be. Even though the numbers didn't say it, the competition was very good. Game 7 was excellent without the injury. These young guns were playing it to the all 94 feet of the game. They were fast. They were quick. They reminded me a little bit, not much, but a little bit of the Lakers and the running gun. And that made it exciting for me. So I really appreciate it. Initially,
you mean Lakers, prime Lakers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Prime Lakers. Yes, exactly. Lakers from the 80s. There you go.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. Not the created.
Not to pound the ball and turn your back now. But that being said, I was really excited about it. Initially, I was a little concerned that it wouldn't, and it didn't do the numbers. That's right. It didn't do the numbers that the big markets do. But the game was exciting. And I'm happy it came off the way it did. And I watched all 7 games. I watched all of them.
What do you think about the narrative of this? And I hate these sports shows with these stupid questions, man. Somebody mentioned, well, the finals was cheapened by Halliburton's injury.
Wow.
They said that basically Oklahoma City's win, their championship is tarnished. They should have an asterisk.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
What are you talking about? Go ahead. But can you address that? I'll address it, but I want your thoughts on that, How? Well, you too, Vi. I want your thoughts. Well, let's go to you, Vi. Go ahead.
My son said the same. That son, that bull. Hey, what's 7 games? Injuries are a part of the game.
Exactly.
He got hurt in the game. So that's
let me give you vibe. Yes. Look, let me tell you guys, you New Jack sports guys who didn't, we grew up when it was real. People get punched in the mouth, face,
That's
all
right.
that. Real injuries,
right.
okay? Let me say this to y'all. Injuries are that intangible, okay? It's part of a
Part of the
game.
game.
If you are an organization that can go injury free, then you're in great shape. That's part of planning.
Great.
It's part of preparation when you build a roster. It's called depth. If you don't have depth, then you will succumb to injuries.
That's
so
100%
my
right.
whole point is, you don't have anybody to step in the gap. I mean, it's just Raheem Morris says it all the time. What is it? Next man up.
Next man up.
But
So my whole point is I hate hearing that, man, because not only did I hate hearing that, but you had certain, and I won't mention their names on this podcast, the way certain sports, I would say, analysts were dogging OKC's owner out and just trashing the team leading up to them actually making the finals. A lot of that stuff's uncalled for. They were clearly the best team all year.
That's what I kept saying.
That's right.
Easily all year.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I said the same. I told my son, I said, wait a minute, son. I said, I hear what you're saying, but weren't they the best team all season?
All season.
Year.
All season.
That's exactly right.
Now,
There was only one or two teams that they had issues with. But again, a lot of teams will make the finals who really weren't the best team all year. We've seen that. But I hate the narrative that, the Lakers should have or could. Everybody wants to gravitate toward the big, legendary heritage teams. The same way we still keep hearing this mess about the Cowboys. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
if it wasn't Dallas, then, and you think back, I mean, really and truly, they haven't won a championship since the 90s. So it's just, to me, I was so glad to see OKC win it all because it's never going to quiet that narrative.
Right.
Coming from the big, people who are just focused on the big city teams. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah,
something.
ESPN was devastated when New York City lost. Now,
Yeah, of course.
I said the same. I said, Oklahoma, I said, gonna be a good series, but they're not gonna get the ratings.
No, but you know what? I think, and I'm glad Silva came out and he was talking about the online presence and really trying to make it multimedia. So he said, hey, maybe the whole broadcast TV generation that we saw, in the 80s, 70s, and 80s doesn't exist anymore. People watch different locations. They don't watch in real time. And yeah, it's not a quote unquote sexy matchup. It wasn't a sexy matchup, but honestly, if you like basketball, if you're really into the game, those were great games.
Yeah, they were excellent.
And it went to 7. How did it go to 7?
Right.
Yeah, I agree. It was a good matchup. Honestly, the Pacers were just, because, and you know what? I can base it on the fact that, we follow the Hawks, Howie, you and I, and the Pacers always slam the Hawks. The funny thing is the Hawks could beat Boston, but they couldn't come close to beating the Pacers, nor really could they even come close to beating the games that they played OKC.
Right.
The OKC just dominated. Yeah. And I saw OKC play the Hawks this season, and I was just shocked at how dominant they were. Mm-hmm. So, I think, people have to get around or get over Lakers, not Knicks, because, Knicks is just the fact that they're in New York and ESPN is based in New York. So, you've got people, which I would never, growing up, we'd never see a sports analyst or broadcaster be that blatantly opinionated about a team that they care for on air. We would never, they probably wouldn't have lasted back in the day, but it's a different world. It's where we are.
Different world, very different.
Go ahead, and now I'm going to ask you guys about the NBA.
But in
draft.
truth, they were saying, by understand, they said Indiana for the last 2 months had the best record in the NBA.
Oh, NBA. I mean, I'm telling you, the Pacers came on strong, and quite frankly, I'll say it wasn't all Halliburton. It was truly about Siakam.
Yes.
I mean, that Siakam acquisition, which let me say it. I'm gonna say it because I live in Atlanta. We should have gotten him.
Yes.
That's the guy we should have gone for.
Yes.
We got. I'll save it for the draft. My thoughts on Porzingis. But I will say this: when it comes down to Siakam, he made the difference in that team, the core of that team. He made the difference.
He definitely did.
Yeah, he made the difference. He made the difference.
He's gritty.
NBA draft, Howie, thoughts?
I'm excited for these young men. This is life-changing, family-changing, wealth-changing money that these young men are going to get into. These are the winners, the kids who were drafted. These are some of them 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who are going to make a lot of money. I applaud them. Those one winners. Real quick, I have 3 teams I want to touch on, and Hawks being one of them for a little home cooking. One being Dallas Mavericks. Their obvious pick to take Cooper Flag, who has just tremendous upside. They had a 1.8% chance of winning the number 1 pick, so that's the little caveat for your conspiracy theories.
But let me ask you while you're there.
Yeah.
How do you feel about people coming out with a conspiracy theory saying that it was rigged?
Well, now more than ever,
rigged to replace. Basically, they traded Luka to LA, and apparently, according to the conspiracy theory, that trade was intended to help the Lakers go to the championship, and then in turn for giving up Luka, Silva gave them or made it possible for them to get first pick. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think it's true that, more now than ever, conspiracy theorists are in the forefront. By the way. Allegedly, right. In the forefront, because, remember Patrick Ewing in New York Knickerbockers in the very cold envelope that was in, and that's how New York was able to draft. Conspiracy theory, man. That's how New York was able to draft Patrick Ewing. Yeah, so that's the Luka thing. My concerns for Cooper Flag is that he's just a little bit light. He's at 6'6" or so, a little bit light, but I think he'll get stronger. I think he's a bucket getter, so I think that's going to help.
He's like 6'8", 6'9".
Now they got the big 3 with Irving, Davis, and now Cooper Flag, so they're going to be exciting. The second winners I think is San Antonio with the Dylan Harper pickup. He's a little bit light at 6'6", 215 guard, but that gives him another player to help Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox just got to be a player and share the ball. And Dylan Harper, the floor is going to open up for him with Wembanyama in the center, and it's just going to open the floor for him. He scored. He has great pedigree, which his dad being a former player, and Ron Harper, and his mom is a coach at Don Bosco High School. So he got great pedigree, high basketball IQ. And that being said, I think he'll be a player. He got to fill into the game. Lastly, a little home cooking, and I hate to take up all the time, but the Hawks, the pre-draft trade for Kristaps Porzingis. I think the Hawks are hoping that we can get 52, 58 games out of him and do better than Clint Capella 82 games.
I think you're pushing it, but go ahead.
That's what I said.
But the big part was trading back to 23rd, picking up the kid out of Georgia, Asa Newell, who's a local kid who played down in Florida. That was big. He's a center that it's going to be a little bit of a project, but more than anything is getting that unprotected first-round draft pick for 2026, where they're expecting the class to be a lot better than it is this year. So I think the new GM, what's his name, Honest here in Atlanta, did a great job with stepping back and picking up more for the future. So yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Good stuff. And I agree. Those are definitely the top 3 opportunities. And as far as the Hawks are concerned, I do think the Porzingis trade was well needed. But I do say this, that there's a decision has to be made this year about whether or not you keep Trey and whether or not you could, because if you don't have how do you say it? Championship is way too far. But if you don't make the playoffs, not to play in, I would not give Trey a max contract. I think you got to put him on the market. It's time to move on. Because now you're giving him, in my opinion, you're meeting the needs of the team. You had an issue with bigs who could spread the court. You've had an issue with bigs who are rim protectors, defensive players. Now you fixed that. Now, okay, let's see. You can't be a startup in 2025, 2026. You know, this needs to be a team that's in top 5. You got to be top 5 in the East. And if you're not top 5 in the East, I think you got to deal Trey.
And it's a great opportunity to be top 5 in the East. You got Cleveland, who has an Achilles, Boston, who has an Achilles, and Indianapolis, who have an Achilles. All of their best players are down, or 1 or 2 or 3 of their top 1, 2, 3 players in their league on their teams are down. It's a great opportunity. Now you just got New York basically to get over, and maybe a little bit of Miami. So you're exactly right. This is the year to make it if they're going to make it.
Yeah, and Ressler, I still don't trust Tony Ressler as an owner. I think they still have room to make a deal, and we'll have to see whether or not they make a deal.
Right, they got a $25 million exception where they can make that deal. You're exactly right, and bring in another player. You're 100% right.
So instead of being cheap and saving the money, make a deal, dude. Because quite frankly, it's either you win now, make a deal, and be top 5, possibly win the East, or you're going to have to fall below that, be another 500, have another 500 year, and you're going to have to deal Trey. And honestly, you'd rather win than having to find somebody who's going to pick up Trey. That's
right.
going to be tough.
It is.
That's going to be harder.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for you to spend the money to win now, or wind up having to deal Trey. Go ahead, Brian. We'll wrap it up.
I got 2 questions for you NBA fellas. What about the kid that going to Utah from Georgia, and what are the Lakers? How are the Lakers going to do with their new ownership?
The kid that's going to Utah, out of Rutgers, who said he retired, supposedly retired from the league before he ever played. Now, I'm not a psychologist, but you guys look at that guy's eyes, man. Either something is not, the elevator's not quite there, or he's just getting some really, really, really bad information or help from around people. Because remember, he was supposed to try out for some teams, and he failed to do that. The 76ers was one of them, and he was a bit surprised about Utah picking him.
So I understand to say he did not want to be a top 5 pick.
Well, you know what? Let me say this. You finished, Howie?
Yeah. I just look at his eyes when you see him. Tell me what you think.
Well, I'm not even going to look at his eyes. I'm going to say this. The thing with, Stern, Commissioner Stern. This is why Commissioner Stern pushed for international players. He's the reason, okay? I'm not saying he is, but I'm just saying Commissioner Stern had this whole philosophy or concept of making the NBA more international because he saw that there were problems with certain players, would keep, in certain, I'm gonna say demographics. I'm gonna leave it. I ain't gonna make everybody mad at me, but just some people can be mad, and that's why you see so many international players, because international players are just glad to be here. They can play. They happy. They make the money. They shut up.
And play ball.
You're not gonna hear no mess, no craziness. Maybe a few, but they gonna play, go home. The problem with that is what you get is boring. You lose personnel. I mean, unlike the NFL, which the NFL draft is so far better entertainment than the NBA draft, because you don't know. I mean, NBA, NFL, you have a chance to know who these guys are, because most of them stay, minimum 3 years.
Right.
You're going to see them 3 years play, develop, in college, basketball.
Right.
College football. These international players, nobody knows. Except the scouts. Then when you see them, they don't, a lot of them, some, don't speak English. A lot of them, when they get to their teams, you don't really see them, or, you see them on the court, but you don't, they're not going to be making a whole lot of appearances. And the funny thing about it is a lot of them, their dads were pro athletes who went over to the countries and got busy with the white women. So you got a bunch of beige guys who are, international guys. You can tell the Hawks have become DeBarge. When you look at,
too much, too far. The board.
They have. They curly hair. It's like, oh man, this is El DeBarge. We drafted El DeBarge. But I'm just saying, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just saying it's like, it's boring. They're milquetoast when it comes down to any kind of personality. NFL, totally different. NBA, right. You get Cooper Flag. We'll see how that works out. That's a whole nother agenda. That's almost like the Caitlin Clark agenda.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, who's going to be exciting? I mean, think about NFL, the Shedeur Sanders controversy. You think about, all the top 5. Everybody knew the top 10 players. Nobody knows who these guys are. We just hope that they could come. Our hope is that they'll come here, make an impact, and be exciting. Right. The NBA has to fix that if they want people engaged in the draft. If not, you can't be putting the draft on broadcast television and expect people to be into it. That maybe the people like us who really and truly follow, right. But the casual fans aren't going to care. We don't know who this guy is. From. Yeah, did you care about the NBA draft?
I ain't know none of them. Not one of them.
And the time of year, it's in the summer. It's like most people, reruns are on. I mean, yeah, you got space for it. You can preempt, but, and then you got the dumb, the guys who are at the sports networks ruining everything.
I'm just not learning about SGA and Halliburton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So my whole point in being going nuts over here.
Okay. Another one
they do have to. I mean, I'm just telling you, there has to be a way to bring people along so that draft night they're familiar with who these guys are, because nobody knows.
Well, the Laker question.
Yeah. What about
it? How you thought the new Laker ownership?
No, I just as long as Jenny Buss is there, what's really going to change? The only thing that really
she's not the majority owner. She don't get to say so much.
No, but she's still the she's general manager. Well, what's his name is general manager Rob Pelinka.
You think they're gonna last long?
She is still. They're still relying for her to be operations president and all that.
Oh, okay.
The guy who took over the team has been there, but not as a majority owner. They know him. They know each other. I think what's going to happen, if anything, is there's going to be probably a little bit more infusion of money. And I do think there's going to be more accountability, especially when it comes down to this deal with LeBron.
Definitely money. $1 billion? Was it like $10 billion?
10.
I think the biggest change that's going to happen, I think Pelinka's going to stay there. I think Jenny Buss is going to stay there. I think, the person who needs to be asking questions is LeBron.
Yeah, I think LeBron has lost the power. He don't have the power anymore.
Yeah, I think LeBron needs to be asking what's up, what's next.
What do you think? Do you think Pelinka will stay if LeBron is ousted? I don't think so. I think Pelinka and LeBron might be on that.
No, I think
exit.
I think it depends on who they get next. Pelinka like any GM, you want to be with the winning franchise. You don't want to be in a situation like the Hawks.
Get rid of Pelinka, man.
Well, truly, you just don't know.
Pelinka. Get rid of Pelinka.
Yes.
Huh? Y'all need a new general manager.
Well, quite frankly, Pelinka redeemed himself with
that Luka. Was a gift.
Well,
no, but still, I do think if Luka plays up to par, comes back in shape.
I'm not giving him credit for that as a gift. Who would?
Well, call it a gift.
Who would have turned that down?
Vi.
Who would have turned that down?
The guy who gave it up in Dallas is still there. So you know what I'm saying?
What I'm saying,
I don't know if he's going to.
Who would have turned?
Yeah, for now.
Who would have turned that down? Anthony Davis.
But you know what? Pelinka is in better shape than the GM for Dallas. I'll leave it at that.
So.
All right, what else y'all got? Let's wrap it. We got to wrap it.
Oh yeah, I got you. One quick thing on basketball is the GM for the Toronto Raptors, who has a great connect to African US, has just came available. So we'll see if the Dallas guy can still be around now that he's available.
I think the Dallas guy did what the owners told him to do.
Yeah, I
agree. New ownership. They want to get below the second, first or second apron when it comes to cost. I agree with you.
But still, hey, I look at it like this, Vi. But still, when these fans, if they don't get some type, I mean, and you got what's his name is out on injury until January, February. Kyrie's out. My whole thing is if the fans come back and move away from signs outside every game about firing the GM. If they can move away from that, Luka can make them forget that. He'll be fine.
Man, they got
Cooper Flag.
They got Cooper.
Yeah, but they got. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Cooper Flag. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Cooper Flag.
He's more white.
Make him forget.
He's more white than Luka. He's American white.
Yeah. But see, I'm gonna say this, man. It goes back. But it goes back to my argument about international players versus, I mean, even Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag is going to have more relevance because he grew up in Maine. You know what I'm saying? And he understands what it means to embrace fans. Go out, do appearances, speak, do all that stuff. He's going to be doing that. He's going to be better. I mean, how many endorsement campaigns have you seen with Luka? There's probably a reason why you don't see Joker doing endorsement campaigns because the guys they're like they're like
language barrier for one thing.
And in Texas, it's a gold mine.
Right. They're gonna love him, but I agree. I mean, but now they got to win. All right, all right, so scan the QR code on our logo, social media, our links are there. Also, if you have any feedback, you have any comments, you can scan it and basically leave us a voice message. Or if you're on Spotify, you can go to Spotify. A couple of you have. Go to Spotify and basically leave. If you follow us on Spotify, you can leave comments. And I know we're going to get plenty this week, especially from the international community. I know they're going to be out there. So you could go there, leave a message. Bring it. But definitely we need you on Spotify. Don't forget, support the podcast. Again, what you're watching is out there. I'm going to be watching, I promise. The holidays coming up. I'm going to take some time and go see some stuff. And final shout outs quick to you, Howie. We've gone a little long, but that's okay. Go ahead. Final shout outs.
My daughter's graduating from graduate school today. Graduate School of Education is called Relay University. It's an online deal. I'm trying to get in. It started at 1. I appreciate it. No, you're great.
You gotta go.
I got her.
Okay, cool.
You're good. Cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate the invitation again. Thank you, sir. Good to see you.
That's less bills for you.
That's right. I see. I'm glad to have Vi back. Vi said he had a piece of Popeye's chicken when he got back to the States. So,
real chicken. What's some flavor in it?
Is that what you got for your final shout out to Popeyes?
That's it. I appreciate it.
I let the Howard did it, not me.
What's your final shout out? Go ahead, man. Final shout out, Vi.
People glad to be back in America. All I can say, enjoy the 4th of July, man, and don't take everything. Don't let Trump control your everyday movement. He's gonna do what he's gonna do. Enjoy life and do what you're gonna do, and let everything else take care of itself.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that, man. I'm with you. And my final shout out is I just got to say, hey, man, Democratic Party elections have consequences, y'all. That's all I got to say. I mean, everything that's happening now is a consequence of the election. So you got to recruit better, got to have better candidates, man, and you got to win. You got to win elections. If you don't win elections, you know what? The narrative, you can just, basically you got to win.
You get what you get.
You get what you get. So, right. And also the last thing I have to say is when you get into office, you have to be as bold as what you're seeing now. If you say you're going to do it and you don't do it, then you know what? Again, I say consequences. You got to live with it.
And listen to your people. Listen.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm going to leave it at that. And with that, y'all, episode 273 is in the can. Have a great week, y'all. Peace and power to the people.
You've been listening to This is the G Podcast. And This is the G Podcast is a production of the Castropolis Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.